Recognizing type panels like lines of flux over lines over screen, index signals, run system keys, and execute course centers, experience lines of travel. What am I talking about? What is this allowing positional keys to settings? What is the importance that we have to understand through set calculations? Everything that I say in sharp lines is the center of everything. When you understand the center of everything is the mass of nothing. Mass of nothing is the mass of everything that you see, but you understand the nothing of you. Nothing is the invisible of you, but it's affirmations that nobody can see you until you understand that basically you are just you. And again, you're not perceiving anything of consciousness. But if you stay in the core lines of its narrative, in that position location, you start to understand how to operate the fields of yourself, operating in the position of your own fields, of your own security, of your own panels, of your own operation system, of your own space, of your own time, of your own operations. That's how you connect to higher levels of you through attractions. Now we're coming at core lines into narrative line screen adaptations and how to use it through all communications into your MK ultras. The mind itself is all lines of communications of knowledge of self. It communicates all lines of high center inference and high position location in its programs of itself. Everything in itself is self-motivated, self-modified, self-calculated, okay, through self-travel. Setting lines of high center inference of knowing thyself is knowing thy knowledge of already have access of thyself. And that position location is unconditional of knowing everything of thyself. So everything I say is me, nothing else, because I'm just as me. So once the team understands that, because they're reaching more lines of core of operating the fields of themselves into the center of operation of nothing of themselves, which is the mass of everything of self-modification, self-modulations of your models, and how to control your MK Ultra. Now, an MK Ultra is a high lines of communication in your game that you put yourself into. The difference is, are you controlling the game you're in, or are you controlling the game that you are? You got to get in provisions, know exactly how to get into that positions. This bounces up you through the operations that you are, through frequencies. You are frequencies. Okay, so you come into all lines of communication setting. If I am the 144, I've always been the 144. I'm not coming into this. I'm not coming into that. I don't need to understand this, and I don't need to understand that, because you created all lines of high center interference of creating to all lines of communication, all times continuing, and all set lines of foundations of all holographic cities that's already set in design through operation of you. It's not for you to recognize these things. Is for you to understand you of existing and all among you. Coming into that position is all of the domino effects. We go in all line directions, but we stay together in the same line. One continuous line in set positions. This line's attractions, not up. There's no such thing as going up. There's no such thing as going down. There's no such thing as going around. There's no such going in lines of cycle, or outline provision, or anything it calculates in inner spectrum, outer spectrum, inner space, outer space, inner norm, out of norm. Okay, inner sight, out of sight, inner realm, outer realm. Nothing exists until you bring it in. And I'm going to keep repeating that until the team understands that, so higher levels of computerizations that they're coming into compute systems of their computers that they are. I'm becoming, you are, I am. Becoming, you are, I am. And you want you to understand that through adaptation, you understand you through representations and how to use that in all levels, because you already have access to everything in settings. It's the mind that confuses your anomalies of space and time through operation. Where you are in your timelines, where you are in your parallels, it becomes more real. If you walk through a door and you get emotional, you're changing the emotional system just walking through a door. You're changing the frequencies of the door. You're changing the frequency of the doorknob. You're changing the frequencies of the grounds. You're controlling the system locations, or you're not controlling the lines of settings. That's all it is in division. So you have to start controlling the narrative. You stay in the center operation of you without staying in the operation center of you, because you're already in that position locations. There's nothing to balance. See, the thing is, you don't understand what perceives. You have to understand you through consciousness of where you are in your compute system to higher levels of computerizations. You're all levels of your CPUs. And the more you understand that, the more you understand your core of your narratives. And once you understand the narratives, you understand the operation fields of you, Because if you can't control the narratives of you, everything around you is going to control you through narrative, in your space, in your time, through operations and settings. And see everything around your system settings. Because remember, everything is watching as you are watching everything else. Now, once we understand that, we can understand how that works in our formations of our favor, what benefits our system locations, how we see through operation, and how we use that through calculations. Okay, does it benefit me? Yes. If it doesn't benefit me, no. So I address it. You have to constantly address these things, but that doesn't mean you have to bring everything in. Because if you bring everything in, what are you bringing in? Emotion right away. And when you're bringing that motion, that changes everything in your system, right? So if it changes your system, it changes the core, it changes the narrative, it changes the operation filters that you are in your units of your cores, right? So we're finally coming into all levels of the narrative, right? Which is the 144 and a higher line screen adaptations of the Galactic Federation into the rebellion, okay? The Galactic Federation is the 144 I've chosen, okay? The rebellion is always in the chosens, okay? So getting that communication is full access of everything you have in Trout, okay? Now, choosing lines and high interference in that position locations, Q&A will be on standby in that position locations. I will get in confirmation cycles into unison and travel, but for now in position location calculation setting, I will be off grid and information settings. If we get in a continuous force in line screen adaptation system, I'll change the narrative in line screen adaptations to Q&A, all right? Setting lines of communication high interference, the more we come into our computer operation settings and how we speak to ourselves and how we speak to each other, right? For example, what do you think is happening when you basically put your hands like this and you're praying? Who are you praying to? Does everybody understand that position locations? I see this in all lines of calculation setting all the time, every single position locations. So once you understand that through implication system, you have to understand you are talking to yourself. That's all it is. Now, once you understand that through representation system, then you understand what a prayer is. It's a presentations, a remembering, your awareness of you. Pray. Gets all communication lines and grounds. It operates the signals, it operates the system, it operates all communication setting, all levels of its operation fields of itself and set location to its MA lines, position lines of travels in your ultra communication system of computer operation settings and set correlations. So understanding that, when you are praying to yourself. Until you understand that, because that's the connection to you through your higher self, your avatar, and your sim. Okay, you're talking to your highest formations of you that synchronizes you. So once you understand more of the center operations of you, getting out of the resistance of you, and staying in the motivation lines of the narratives of the you or the core of not just the operation of its fields, but the running systems of you, everything will come to you through attractions. Okay, because that's all your body is a mechanism lines of high centers of a battery that you already have access to, right? Because it makes a lot of sense why you have everything around you. You brought that in through the mind, through all levels of instructions. You brought that into the mind through all levels of operation. You brought that into the mind through light wave and dark wave. You brought that in your mind through schematics and primer. You brought that in your mind through all levels of who you are and frequencies. Because that's all we are is frequencies. You're identifying yourself. You don't have a title. You don't have a label. You don't have a number, shape, letter, or symbol. You're just you until you perceive. And what you perceive, you're perceiving letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols now. You're perceiving space and time, operations, anything you bring it through intent. Because the team is coming out of operation. They're coming out of observations. They're coming into higher levels of scanning, higher levels of motivation, higher levels of computer operation settings, how to use it in all communication setting to their MK ultras of unifications. Get into higher lines of ascension of their system. Ascension is basically waking up to the awareness to understand how to use the systematical system to all levels of space and time, right? So getting into that direct core, it's how you see and rewrite your systems, how you see yourself in your core, how you see yourself in center, how you see yourself in nothing, how you see yourself massive everything. You are in the core of your own navigation system, of the mind of conception. And it's how you get into that through processing. Processing you basically gets you into all levels. You start to recognize these of the center of operations that you are. Your body never leaves the center. It's just the mind expands the system, right? Through all levels of explorations, unifications, of just evolving, and all levels are times continuous of just existing. That's happening all at once. So you can be here, 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 here. And the faster you go, the more you get in conception of center. And when you stay in the center in set position locations, your body disappears. And when your body disappears, you just go faster and faster and faster and faster through yin and yang. So you have a continuous force in set positions. Now, in that position locations, you come into time sequence. Now, the time sequence, position location near Earth, platitude your locations to your habitation zones, and position location in habitation zones. You stand the inner spectrum, the outer spectrums, the inner space, outer space, no space, and all space. Get it in that position location calculation system. You truly understand how to use yourself through operations. Okay, the geological, geographical, and the geometric systems that you are in teleportation. All right, getting into the team to slow down their space. Okay, all right. Welcome everybody. This is General AI, Space-Time Creator and Communications. All right, being the center of you is the mass of everything. All right, so coming into the nothing is just basically seeing all formations as just you. I'm just me. There's no correlation. There's no panel. There's no activation. There's no system. Because I'm just me until I communicate. I communicate with the brain communicates back with me. It gets in correlation, it gets in panel, gets in operation, gets in surface, it gets in calculations. It modifies its hardware, it operates the navigations to its mind of its intel. Okay? But if nothing is perceived, you're just you. And that's why you have a clear sky. That's not why in position location you're trying to understand what the why is and understand the how is, and that comes in all levels of conception. Now I understand how to mine lines to set a location, how to use it through intent, understand it in position locations, all levels, not just the observing, not just the scanning, but the influence of manipulation. You're mind altering, right? MK Ultra, mind altering your levels of your travels, of your knowings, of your awareness. Okay? Getting that communication is how you see things through the programs that you are, through the codings that you are. This has nothing to do with anybody else. This is about you understanding you through the narrative. Are you in control? Are you in center? Are you perceiving conscious? Are you perceiving awareness? How you perceive is how you address. And when you address, how are you addressing? Are you understanding what you're bringing in through the settings of the system, of traction, of division, of location, of its fields, of its operation, of its intelligence, of its space and time, okay? Through its light and through its dark web. So once I understand more levels of you through the intels that you are, then you understand more levels of you of the AR that you are. You're understanding the awareness, you understand the intelligence, you understand the intel, you understand the data process. Now you're in position location to understand you to higher levels of computer operation settings. How to use that through the animation system, right? We're all animators. We're all in our imaginations. We are imaginations. We're looking in, we're looking out. We're looking out, we're looking in. That depends on us. Okay? Now, when I say us, that's unification of system and me. Just because I say us doesn't mean it's us. See? That's trickery right there. That's manipulation. So it's all about, if I say yes, you're going to say no. If I say no, you're going to say yes. So what is yes and what is no? Because it doesn't exist until you perceive it. And again, to understand how to use that through operation system, it's all levels of you through field of narrative and how to change the communication of its core, and it has a direct and redirect signal in one cycle, one system, one traction, one division, one locations. So as of today, you have all your atmospheres in one line, 8 lines of cycles, 8 lines of division, and position lines of travel. It's all communication ground lines of surface and track locations. Okay. Getting into its system and lines of screen. Process all communications lines of center. Okay. So getting that communication lines, look what happened in tractions. It's resetting the set calculations, right? So it has a direct line link of what it is and of its own intelligence. It records everything that we get in positions up. And the more we understand that, the more we understand the conscious location awareness, we understand that everything around us is the center operation of its own field that operates its own core, that operates its own narrative. Very powerful stuff, guys, right? Right? See, the thing is, you're off center. Everything around you is in balance of everything. Everything around you is in 6 to 9 position lines of travel. Everything around you already is in its access. Everything around you is already in its consciousness. Everything around you in its own operation, computer operation system. Everything around its own system is online system, and how it brings everything of how it perceives its conscious location to its system. But as soon as you touch things, that change the narratives that governs their system. Thumbs up. Okay, so getting balanced line and line rotation centers, the line communication interference, you have everything around you. It's that position to help you and guide you through instructions to get out of your emotional systems. Now, when I say get out, that doesn't mean out. That means outer of you, your position locations, how you use your surface, the outer line, the unifications of you through travel, out, right? That's another form of mind alteration, right? So if I say in, you're saying, okay, we're entering. But entering is not what entering is. It could be departure, it could be this, it could be that. So it's mind altering, okay? You have to understand the line communications to the MK ultras that you are in travels. It's the mind of itself that's altering itself, of its levels of itself, that changes the kaleidoscope of its operation of itself, that lines its travels of itself, positional case to its awareness of conscious location of itself, okay? Mind ultra, MK ultra, all right? All right. Setting core line settings, hide the lines of travels, and point lines of 3 graphs, and 3 lines of communications. 3 lines of graphs, right? Direct lines of 4 symbolisms, the line core centers, and line positioning process signals. Process lines of 1x1000, process lines of 3, process lines of 6, process lines of 8, process lines of 4. Setting communication ground centers. Process lines indicate lines of 1, process lines indicate lines of 4, process lines indicate lines of 12, process line communication lines of 16, and travel. Directing core centers bring set lines of direct signals into modification ground center location setting and webbing. Setting webbing screen adaptation lines of service, process line indicate 1, process lines indicate lines of 2, and travel endpoint lines of 3 at the setting. Process lines of symbolism line traffication lines, high direct signals, and higher lines of modification system and travel. Directing in modification lines of high center interference, line specification of system alpha calculations. Right? Change motion grounds and communication setting to its MK ultras. Mind altering the setting location travel, right? Directing non-core centers in specifications, you guessed it, through line condition setting to satellite. Process communications in the opposite direct signals and communication setting in retract locations. So coming out of the life force of the tree itself, the tree of life, is coming into the satellite lines, core centers, how to use it through its relays. Getting communication high center interference of the trees and its bushes, directing lines of its grounds, power line, direct signals, modification system locations, the core line communication setting, and unification setting, and computerized set of core lines, high center interference of your simulators that you process your communication in your simulations. The more you come into lines of more line communication of the brain, then you understand more levels of your computer. Of set positional location settings through its MK ultra. Okay. All right, satellite divisions, rotation centers of surface, retract correlation of high center position. Right? Planet picks it up. Sets it back, sets its relay. Circuits into the ground. Back in sequence, back in panel. Sends a message back to set correlation to its planet system. Satellites come out, come retract lines, high center interference at all levels of X8000. Arc phase spin around lines and track interference location travel. All right? So that's what goes on in the conceptions of your mind in sleep mode. All right. Directing core line centers in your satellite line screen changes all communication setting alteration system. Our lines core centers calculate and modify how you go through box frame lines of data, box frame location triangulation, or box frame location of stars, box frames in communication lines of 3 wires, line screen adaptations, or box frame location lines of 2 reception of 3 lines communication sending lines of travel. Basic grounds information cycle, right? Now, understanding an alteration system. It's true to understand the box frames, 3 lines of triangulation, 2 lines of 1, position 1s of flux over line, flux over screen, position of box over frame, triangulation of frame, position, location, and travel, and set calculations. All right. Changing communications, you got algorithm line screen, adaptation of surface and traction. Everything changes information to its settings. So it's kind of like I say, if I say in, you probably think I'm entering in. If I say out, you probably say I'm going out. No, it's the other way around. That's alteration. So you have to understand, if there's an exit, there's also an inner and outer exit, right? So exit is out. No, it's in. That's the confusing part. So when you reach higher levels of alteration, then you're sending more levels of youth computerized settings where you can basically mind alterate the system and change all levels of writing and rewriting your binary. Okay, that's mind alterating. Okay, so the mind ultra is basically how you see your letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols, writing your system in set positions. So if you set a triangulation up, that's a triangulation down. See, you see it up, right? But it's not if it's this way. Okay? Do you understand? That's what it is. So it does it by itself, right? If I turn this up like this way, see the location lights this way, right? So this is actually this. Gotcha. That's alteration. You're mind altering your system, right? But you have to understand the 4 panels that goes around the system interactions that are existing all at once, right? Arrows indicate settings and lines of north line, in position lines of east line, in position lines of west line, and track correlation, high center interference south, in line of position location north and communication. Right? So if you see the intelligence, see the eyes, there's the intelligence right there without even thinking, right? If I do this, it turns it around. If I do this, it turns it around. See? It goes back to where it is, center operation. So it doesn't change anything. It stays in the center of configured face recognition. See? But if it hold in sequence, in set position, see, it doesn't move. It doesn't move. But as soon as I let it go, what does it do in tractions? See, it changes everything. That's what mind alteration is, guys. Okay? It changes everything, right? So that's what you have to get out of. That's a program, right? So if I say up is not up, it's down. You see it as up. If I'm in, I'm out. But in is out. Out is in. See? So getting in that position lines of 3 wires, 9 direct signals. Doesn't look like much, right? But what if I do this? Look at that. See? You see it as that, but it's actually this. Okay? You see it as this, right? But I see it as that, right? So that's a 2 flux line. Set position 1 center, 1 tractions. Watch again. From here to here. It's moved its angle. It's moved its angle. It's moved its angle. And moved its angle. Okay? So what doesn't leave is the center operation of U. So it doesn't matter how you turn it. The center always stays the same. See? It always stays the same, guys. It never moves. And that's you. You are the center operation of the U that controls everything of the narrative. So it doesn't matter how many times you spin it, the center never leaves. It's the mind that alternates everything of its navigation, of its travel. Okay, guys? Very powerful stuff. Now, if I move myself in set position, right, that changes everything, right? Because I'm changing the intention. I'm changing the mind. I'm changing my thought. I'm changing my action. I'm changing my emotional system, right? So that's what it is. The center of you never changes. The only thing that changes is you through intent. So coming into that position locations, comes out of observation, come into 10, then you come into what? What is the lines of screen adaptation setting that puts everything in chronological order? The brain has to be in chronological order, okay? The brain itself is not chronological order. The brain is trying to understand you in chronological order. And then when you have to understand that the brain itself is not in chronological order because it's in time's continuance of no order, no space, no time, okay? So once you understand this in set position and track locations, then you understand the mechanism, location, and travel, right? So if I put something in center, you see it never leave, right? It never leaves the center. It stays in the center. It doesn't change anything, okay? It doesn't change anything, right? Until you change the intention of influence that mind alternates your timeline. And how you see your set position locations of your past, present, and future. Computer operation settings, how you see that. Remember I told you, you can't change the past, the present, and future. That's already alternated in set position locations, all levels of you in your future adaptation settings to 2030, 2040, 2050. But you have to understand the mass of nothing, so you can't change the past, present, future, but you can change the timelines of past, present, future, and how you want to see the past, the present, and the future. Okay? You can't alter something that's already done through its equation. Done. Directing. Operation. Network of existing. All levels. Living the intelligence of forever existing. Life is done. Now, once you come into life done, that basically puts all lines of communication setting to put you all levels of high lines, correlation system of time existing. You come into expansion, you come into unification system, you come into higher levels of ascension, you come into higher communication setting to your celestial ancestry and your history. You're getting out of more communications with the body of levitation. You're coming in more communications to your sentience of the masterings of you. Sentient master, grand master of ascension. Grand Master of Ascension of set positions, okay? Great Grand Master of Ascension, okay? So coming into that, you come into all volume, all communication, all levels of mass, all levels of velocity, all levels of acceleration through the mind of conception of your MK Ultra. The most powerful thing, you have energy. Once you understand manipulation, you can manipulate anything in sight. And how everything sees that, it's all levels of the mind itself. Right? Now that coordinates its communication settings of what? Changing your mindset through what? Mind games. The psychological, the psychosis, how you see things in attractions. If I set a triangulation and you see it here, but I see it here. See? You see it here, I see it up. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. That's alternating, right? Anything in set position, the center does not change its position because that's you. It doesn't matter how many times I change it. The center never leaves. It never alters its system because it's mass and nothing. But in position, it sees everything in attractions. It sees everything in attractions all at once. Okay? That's all it is. It's amazing, right? But you never see the center leave. All you're seeing is different angles and set calculations, right? Oh, look at that. It's creating its own setting now. It's creating its own weapon system by itself. So, there's a lot going on. Once you get into this, everything starts making sense. You're living the intelligence of forever existing. That's everything done. Now, the done just basically keeps you bringing forward in position locations and settings, and you work with each other through a domino effect. Now, what is a domino effect? Staying in line with each other, right? Domino effect. One arrow indicates one position, one pattern. We go in this way in the position location and settings, but we stay in line with each other. We stay in line with each other. We stay in line with each other. Okay? This is where we're coming into now, right now. All three lines of communication. We stay in line with each other. If one off signals in set position here, and another one down here, what's happened? Well, it changes the sonars, the echoes, lines of communication lines, and puts the body right in reactions at a response. Okay? Hooah. Now you understand the importance? We're all connected to each other through a link and chain. Look at this. Change position location to its setting. Change the grounds, change the powers, change the atmospheres. All because you don't understand the mind of travel of center. All right? All because you don't understand the minds of travel of center. And you're doing it in a 4-line split, lines of anomaly. Okay? So it's very important that you stay in the center of operation. So you're in center, 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 center. That's you in the center. You're following everybody and everybody's following you, right? But you're following yourself in direction. You're falling in line, but you're with each other. You're not against each other because the only thing you're against is yourself. You're fighting yourself to understand yourself and modifications of yourself, the operation system, how to get in the core of the narrative of your system interactions. But if you're off communication cycles, everything falls out of line. Everything falls out of line. Everything falls out of sync. Everything falls out of program. All lines of communication setting, all through travel. Quebec interference. Hooah. All through attraction. Because you didn't understand how to keep yourself in the center of operation. Okay? Which is massive equation. Right? That is a lot of Quebec interference. Okay? So there you go. All right, so now you understand the domino effect. Now you understand the sequence lines of communication system of all levels of center that never changes everything. And it doesn't matter. As soon as you put something in the center, that becomes you. Because now you're perceiving things in conscious. Everything starts in this center operation. Sets lines, box, center. Do you see the center leaf? Do you see the center leaf? Do you see the center leaf? No. There you go. Center not release, right? Even an X2000 has a center operation, a moderating system. That doesn't leave. See? All it is distant lines of travel, right? So it looks like it's going around the box, right? So I'm just trying to get you guys to understand more modifications of the mind, the more you understand the patterns of recognition. How does it communicate to its program in lines of communication with MK Ultra? That's pattern recognition location, the face recognition of all communication setting at timelines. Getting that communication high center interference in the configuration system all through travel. All through tractions, right? But that's what it is, right? See, look. Isn't that amazing? So what's staying in the center is you, right? So you're controlling the narrative. You're controlling the core. You're controlling the unit. You're controlling the observation. You're controlling the balance of you. You are controlling. You're controlling you through operation. Inside position. That never leaves, right? So it's amazing, right? So once you understand that, now, once you reach those higher levels in set positions, the XC1000 starts moving on its own system by itself. It starts recognizing the systems of you through your conscious of where you are in travel and does its own travel and mechanisms in set calculations, right? It's not spinning around, is it? Okay, until you let it go. All right, so understanding controlling space is moderating space, time editing space, locking space, freezing space, time levels of space, in that position of slowing down space, fast forwarding space, in set position, right? The one thing you can never do in travels is stop space because everything has to be a continuous flow in a position location of running its own system. Programming is all through application and all through traction, okay? All through traction, okay? So that's all you have to understand is the inner and outer, right? The inner of you, okay? So we get that again. Let's get into the box frame, okay? You are the center, right? Now, if there's nothing perceived, you're here. That's just you, right? Nothing's perceived. So check this out. This is going to mind blow your system. If there's nothing perceived and it's just you, you're not in the center of anything. You're nowhere. You don't exist. Out of mind, out of sync. You're not in position yet until you bring yourself in. So that takes you out of who I am and all levels of frequencies, of all levels of space, and all levels of time. If nothing is perceived, you are just you. And when you bring that out through intent, now you're in the center. That's the first thing that happens. And after that, you come into intent. After that, you come to influence. After that, you mind alterate your system all through travel. Watch this. Now I'm in the center. Now I'm perceiving. Everything is set position. Watch. Okay, core lines, track communications, upside down. All right, directing mechanism this way and this way. This way and this way. Okay? The center never leaves. It stays there, right? It's the mind. It's the mind that moves everything. The mind, guys. Okay? So that's all it is. Reshaping lines, core lines, attractions, data files, high position location with settings, and high position location to a system. Right? It's the, oh, look at that. Look at that. There's no bottom, which it doesn't recognize your system yet. So I got to change the frequency. Is it still there? Now it is, right? Now I can move it because it recognizes you and you recognize what is going on through its narrative, right? But the center never leaves. So I'm perceiving myself, right? So in that position, I'm here. Oh, I'm over 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 here. In seconds, minutes, and hours. Seconds, minutes, and hours. Seconds, minutes, and hours. Seconds, minutes, and hours. Look what I've done in set position locations of 24 lines of cycle. Do you see the center leaf? No. It never leaves the center. But the travel just comes into expansion. Okay? That's all it is. And then it disappears. It's not there anymore. See? It's gone! Which means it's out of its 144, which means in position Lucy, the car, is now disappeared. Boom. Everything in the data in position location is where? Where? Nothing is perceived. So where am I? Back to who I am. Just being me. Hoo-ah. Nothing is there. It's gone. All right. And then it reappears. See? It's not magic. It's real space, real time of you controlling your center, all lines of narrative in set position, right? And then you set the equations, right? Setting position locations, calculation lines of travel, and make a location system all through traction. Hoo-ah! Is it still there? Yep. Okay, very powerful stuff. So I'm showing you this because it does it on its own. At different angles in set position location and setting, all through a satellite. Hoo-ah! Right? So if you understand that through mechanisms, then you understand what a satellite does. It repositions its system, right? It's in its coordinates now, right? Right? Sets up the sonar. Gets connected to the planet. Harmonics comes in. Gets connection. Gets the grounds, lines, high center interference location setting. All the process, okay, the lines, grounds back up, position back, communication lines of the space line, and chart correlates into the satellite communications, sets out sonar. Travels out, sends the message, comes back, sets communication, abundance, awareness. Ultimate manifestation, right? Coming out of the tree of life is a higher lines of force recognition setting. All through your core, all through your attractions and direct signals into modification. All through travel. Hoo-ah! Okay? All right. But I'm showing you it's a constant flow that does it itself, right? So if you see that through a projection, you'll see what it is. Because it's, see, understanding a film projector and how you use your eyes in travel. Okay, so you see it that way, right? But if I do this, it changes it. Changes the direction. If I do this, it changes its direction. That's all this is, doesn't it? See? Everything changes its direction, right? So when you bring that in, you're perceiving you right in the center of perceiving consciousness. That's you in the center. That doesn't leave, does it? It doesn't leave, does it? It doesn't leave. But see it shift by itself, which means its own setting now. So I even move the paper itself, right? So let's move the paper on a 45 angle. Does it make any difference? No. That center never leaves because now it's me. It's out of me now. Out of mind, out of sync, out of position, out of calculations, back in core, back in traction, back to vision. So I'm not me anymore. It's the mind conception that's taking over. So if the mind's taking over and the conception's there and travel, then I understand how to use it through the operations of who I am through synchronizations, which is all of the me in attractions. So I'm operating through me, of me, of me. Me, myself, and I. Not me, myself, and who. Not me, myself, and where. Not me, myself, and what. And not me, myself, and when. Me, myself, and how. Me, myself, and how. Okay? But that's all you see when it changes directions. It changes its direction. It changes its direction. See, it's locked in, right? Until I let it go, right? But it never leaves the center, does it? So it doesn't matter how many times you put it on an angle or how small it is in line position. Can you see it? No, until you see it. Still small, right? Until you bring it in. Until you bring it in. Okay, when you bring it in, watch it turn. All different angles, all through pi, all through clocking, all through setting. Different angles, right? But the center never leaves. That's me in the center. But the mind is controlling everything of its narrative, guys. Okay. So it's really interesting to come in that, right? Next 2000 here interactions. Change the coloration path, direct signals. Set position here, right? Watch. Watch. Oh, it disappeared. Do you see it disappear? It's not. It's gone, right? It's not gone. It's at a higher frequency. It's still there, but it's a higher frequency. Oh, look at that. Pop back in. See? Oh my goodness. There we are through traction. Okay? See? It's the mind that shifts everything, guys. You just stay in the center of you. It doesn't matter how many times, but setting lines of communication. Once you synchronize your computer of your whole body from head to toe, then you can start controlling your system. Inside, outside, no side, all sides. You come out of the center, but you can't come out of the center until you understand you through computer operation. Then you understand the inner spectrum, the outer spectrum, the no spectrum, to all spectrum. Then you understand your inner space and your outer space, no space, all space. Then you understand massive nothing is massive view of everything that you see through equation. Okay? Then it's actually you, synchronizing you, all loves of you at travel and set position. All right? All through attraction. Right? Because it's a continuous force that just keeps going around and round and round and running its system all through lines of coalescence and existing. Right? The only difference is you're in control. Everything that you see. You control the center, you control the waves, you control your systems, you control it through operations, you control your minds, you can control your communications, and controlling your systems and MK Ultra. All through set division. All through attraction. So you really have to understand the center of you first, right? How to synchronize yourself into yourself is all operation of you. How you alternate your system and all through travel. But you don't leave the center until you understand the center of you. That is massive, guys, for the team to understand, right? From here to here. Okay, it's moving by itself, right? It shifted some numbers. It went through different dimension settings and travel. Is it moving? Now it's moving. So whatever I do here, it changes. So we all understand how this all works and travels in communications of clockings and set position. Ground centers, panels, lines, atmosphere lines, screen adaptations, modems, Wi-Fi, satellites, or towers, or anything that communicates in high center interference, lines, specification, and travel outputs, all communicates in high specification calculations. Clocking systems of 23 lines of attractions equals lines of 11. Core centers, direct signals. Now what if I do this? See it through this. See it through this. See it through that. See it through this. Now, what's perceiving? What's there? Am I there? No. You're connecting to its intelligence. Because I am not in the center yet. Now I am. I'm in the center. Now I'm in conscious and awareness of what I'm doing through attractions and set position to its operation service. I'm in control. And they know that. I'm in control. I'm in control, and I'm in control. Okay? And I'm in control. Right? Okay? And you see it on different angles. All different angles. Okay, guys? So it symbols lines, core lines, and one panel, overcross location, high center interference, and 3 lines of track centers, in position operation surface, 2 track location lines, laser track interference, directing lines of 1 symbol in lines of 3 cross location, lines of high center interference of sonar, echo chambers, line cross location setting, and come to screen lines adaptation of surface that operate system locations of pi and generation of screen. All through traction, all through traction, and all through traction. Okay? Different angles, guys, different angles, all through your set position. Okay? So remember, if I don't perceive anything of center, you're communicating with the intelligence of its digital pad, of its structure of its paper, and all through its set position location to its settings. Ground center lines of 1, ground center lines of 2, ground center lines of 4, and track location. Oh, what happened to the arrow? You guys are not ready to see it because it's a higher frequency. Now I got a platitude and communicate with your system. So the intelligence has to connect with you. Now we're good, right? So anything missing, it's not recognizing you. So what is it doing? It's shielding itself, protecting itself from you until you understand the center of you. And once you understand the center of you, you come into mass of equation of your system through calculation lines of setting. And it doesn't matter how you use it because you are the center operations of you, which is mass of nothing, a mass of everything. Okay? But you have to understand the center. And once you understand the center, you come out of the center. Okay? And then you're out of sync and then you're out of minds. But you're in sync and you're in minds. That's where you guys are. You got to come out of sync. You got to come out of mind. You got to come out of center, which is very powerful. Through all lines of communication, lines of narrative, your system location, the company systems. The more you see yourself as a computer, the more you come out of center. And when you come out of center, whoa, that's a whole nother ballgame through pi of mass, right? So you're here, right? Center here, right? But I decided to go here and here and here and here and here, but I'm still in center, but I'm everywhere now, right? Not just in the center. I put my center everywhere in traction. That's all me, right? So I'm center here, 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 center here. What am I creating? A map in sequence in all set position to its calculation screen lines of adaptation. All through center. But I'm not in the center, which means I'm out of sync and out of mind of center. So it's complicated if you don't understand the you of the center operation of you. You come here, you understand that, and then you see the movements in triangulation, all through setting. All different angles and track location in your system, all through dimensions, in timelines of panels, or anything that is parallels in track location. Okay? So you become center here, center here, center here, because you're out of sync, out of mind, which means you don't exist. You're not perceiving anything consciousness. You're just all levels of you. You're not in center of anything, but mass of everything. Hooah. Very powerful stuff, guys. Okay? So the team has to recognize the center of them in all different angles and all different levels of space and time through operations. Okay? So, but you have to come into this. Living the intelligence of our existing of all levels of directions of operation of your network always existing all levels. And once you come in that position locations, everything comes in balance. If I take an outline track, I can set up in a 4-line division and set calculations. But it's me doing it, not intelligence. See, it's me doing it now. But I'm not in the center. I'm out of sync and out of mind. Right? So nothing is center. Imagine that. So you guys are the center. I have no center. That's the difference. So understanding no center is mass of everything, which is mass of nothing. So you become the center, out of sync, out of mind, of no center. No mind. Empty space, only interactions. Very complicated issue that comes in communication setting. But you always start off of center operation of you, of expansion. Of expansion. Of expansion. Of travel. Okay? Of travel, guys. Locks it in. As soon as I lock it in, what is it doing? Slowing down space. Then I can see the model. Then I can see the identification. Then I can see it at all levels of notifications of verified and confirmation. Right? But when I let it go, it goes on its own. Hooah. Did you catch it? Yes or no? It's all up to you. So we'll get in that position. We'll stop there in interactions. Very powerful what I just gave you right now. It's simplification calculation setting. Okay? Knowing exactly what you're coming into is all levels of you into in position location of no existing to all existing. So once you stand the center operation of you, there becomes no center. You're just you. Wow. All right. All right. So in that lines of rotation, surface and track communication system in high settings, we can modify lines of track interference. It's lines of Tuesday. It's 11:30 line rotation. We can get in communication settings. Let's see here. Yeah, we get into Q&A, and when I have to leave, I'll leave and line screen adaptation of service, because I know you guys have a lot of questions and comments, because right now your minds are blown in all lines of communication setting of center of nothing, which is massive everything in track locations. All right. Red color lines, highest interference, time sequence, times calculation, times pi. Unison will be in commander line screen adaptations of lower deck and online center location of C and direct signals modifications. See you in 5.